That's right, this is the Blue Diamond Ultra Instant George Bailey channel. The one, the only, who surpassed the gods and the angels. Baby. Before we get started, last week we talked about the God of Destruction version of myself if I became a destroyer. This time, this might get a bit legendary because we're going to be talking about what if George Bailey became or was the legendary Super Saiyan. Without further ado, let's get started. Where to start on this part? Oh yeah, instead of Goku and George having the power to themselves, Vegeta is also going to be there to support Goku on this trip, to helping George get to the Saiyan power he needs. Vegeta suggests they combine their ki and then put it into an energy ball to give to George, so they do that, combining their right amount of ki and blasting it towards George. George had no idea what this was going to be. Once merged, looked like a tennis ball, but it absorbed into his normal body. So Goku and Vegeta went back to Japan and let George continue his journey to victory. Over time, George Bailey gains new forms, starting off with a Berserk form. Realizing how powerful and very deadly this is, it looks similar to the Ozaru form, or humanoid form. Then we have Super Saiyan. Before that is Kaioken. Then we have Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 2 was able to tap into. Super Saiyan 3 was a hard rush. Then he was able to use God Ki, Super Saiyan God. Then Blue, then Evolution, and then using the Hyper Saiyan Prophecy as the greatest power of all time. So now he's able to tap into all those forms with ease, no problems at all, and defeat Sonic.exe and Fatal Error without any trouble. We also get to see a really good team-up, though. Sonic and his friends team up with George, but George has to tell Sonic a little secret by himself, telling him he might be the legendary Super Saiyan. Sonic is laughing and says, "You really believe you're the legendary Super Saiyan? That's a myth. A legend. Come on, George, you got nothing to worry about." But he was going to be wrong in the Battle of All for One. Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Midoriya, and George team up to take on All for One with his godlike ability. Without Broly here, this fight is a little bit different and a lot more powerful. All for One is able to take on Midoriya Silver with no problems. Shadow and Sonic get blown away, but murdering Midoriya in process. This gets George so riled up, he ends up losing control. His energy starts boiling up like a kettle and starts overwhelming. This green energy aura starts becoming very, very unstable, letting out a massive roar, becoming the legendary Super Saiyan, and murdering All for One, ripping him to shreds. Sonic and Shadow are in shock. They immediately power up to save George, but George is no longer in there. It's only the monster that's been created. So what they did is simple. They decided to rush in and see if his friend is still in there. But they realize he's charging up an energy ball that's so big that can wipe out completely everything in one shot. The two of them rush back up to the sky to try and get some ground. Sonic and Shadow charging up a final flash and a Kamehameha, and they decide to fire it at full force, but it's no use. Currently, the power level for the legendary Super Saiyan George is currently 2 Gazillion. Unbelievable, right? As the energy blast gets closer and closer to them, Sonic kicks Shadow out of the way just in time and tries to block it, but it's no use. He has to resort to one last effort. The supersonic boom. Blasting the energy ball, he realizes how much regret went not listening to Tails and not believing George. So he does one last thing. He jumps out of his Kaioken form and jumps right into the blue-white aura. He basically tries to absorb it with everything he has left, immediately giving up everything he has to survive. In the middle of the light, he sees a bright star inside it. George looking up and seeing what kind of power this is, as Sonic taps into Ultra Instinct Sign. So the two of them start battling, combining their ultimate battling skills into the energy. But Sonic is using 100% of the Ultra Instinct Sign just to keep up with George, and it's working. He's able to push him back with ease and try and knock off and push him back as long as he can. But it's not enough. Sonic has to end this quickly, so he resorts to one last trick, the ultimate Kamehameha, or as I want to call it, the Ultra Kamehameha, putting every bit of his last energy into one shot. Realizing this, George's eye, one of his pupils, go back to normal as he turns around and sees Sonic. Sonic looking very discouraged, he decides to charge up a little longer as he sees George's energy reaching a limit. As Sonic finally charges up to full max, he fires the Ultra Kamehameha, wiping George down back to the floor. But was it enough, you say? No, George survives eventually, and he basically drops to the floor. As Sonic goes back down and sees blue steam coming out of Sonic's body, he drops out of Ultra Instinct. Whis coming in to see what's going on and asks what happened. So he basically heals up George, but then George realizes something. I get it now. Vegeta was the legendary Super Saiyan and now he's passed his energy on to me. What have I done? This entire city would have been destroyed if I went full berserk and killed everyone. I'm really sorry, Sonic. I'm sorry, Whis. But I don't think I deserve to be on Earth anymore. I'm gonna have to leave. But before I go, don't tell Beerus what I've done. And so George Bailey, immediately, without any hesitation, leaves planet Earth. Forever. Or it might be for a while. When George teleports away, Whis asks what Sonic's power was about, and so Sonic explains the story. 4 or 5 years pass by as George has been doing his very, very harsh training and very cruel power-up. George has basically been training there for nearly 5 years. When he first arrived here, George's mom told him to come back to Earth when he needs to, and when he needs help. So George basically does that from now on. He realizes what kind of choices he's made and what kind of judgment he's taken. The path of destruction was upon him, especially the fighting that we see today. Much harshly known that George cannot be stopped. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a strange light came to him, and it was Whis and Lord Beerus. George takes 5 steps back as realizing what Beerus said was unreal. So, you're the legendary Super Saiyan, correct? Yeah, that's me. Well then, I'd like to fight you, one-on-one. No way. I'm not fighting you, Beerus. You don't know what I'm capable of. Well, if you're not gonna fight me, then I might as well destroy you. Fine, but I warn you, my power is legendary beyond belief. That's more like it. So, how are we gonna start things off? You start things off in your base form, or should I kick your ass now? And so George Bailey gets a little riled up and tells Beerus he's only asking for his funeral, as he immediately powers up into Super Saiyan God. No Super Saiyan 3, just this for God form. The full God form, actually. So he uses a first barrage attack to test Beerus, and then immediately teleporting back up to the sky and firing a barrage of blasts, just to blind Beerus for a little bit, as he realizes Whis is a little surprised. Once the smoke starts to clear up a bit, George will charge up another energy attack through his right arm, and then dubs it the Red Rasengan, reference to Naruto, I know, and then merges it into a giant bubble, calling it the Bubbleinator. As he charges it up, a huge orange explosion blast fills the air. Beerus clears himself and says, "You may be a lot stronger, but is that all you have?" George telling Beerus that this is not even close to his full power, and charges up into Super Saiyan Blue, not wasting any time whatsoever. And now Beerus is a lot more angrier, showing off 90% of his power. And the two of them clash with ease, both of them hitting each other. First, George starts things off with a kick, and then Horse kicks him right in the gut, and then Beerus rushes back in to punch George so hard and kick him up to the sky. The two of them, realizing how powerful each other are, they start breaking the other world. Whis, looking in surprise, so George has actually been training here for nearly 5 years. Incredible. I have no idea such power with such potential can go. Beerus has to be careful, or else George might get the edge. As the two of them are about to hit each other with another full-scale attack, Beerus and George collide so fast, but Beerus realizing where he went. He didn't turn around at the last second, as George pulls out a super hyper Kamehameha, wiping Beerus out of the way. Completely in shock, steam fills the air as Beerus says, "That's it! I'm about to show off my true power!" And then George does the same by going into Hyper Saiyan, the hyper prophecy that defeated Sonic EXE. As Beerus realizing, as he fights George a little longer, he says, "I understand now. You're a lot more powerful than I expected you to be. Even at my fullest power, you can already overpower me by 10%. You're something else, George. I'll give you props. You are a legend." As the two of them clash again, Beerus uses a scatter attack, Beerus catching George's attack, and says, "This might be the last time I say this, but it's over for you." George and Whis are prepared. Whis flies up as George barely moves at top speed and dodging Beerus' attack. Beerus demolishes the attack and says, "Well played, George. You're able to avoid me with no ease. So, how about showing me that legendary Super Saiyan form of yours?" George, having to show off his legendary Super Saiyan form, immediately starts to power up and starts creating an energy ball so strong, turning him into the legendary Super Saiyan. Beerus asking if that's all he ever has to offer, but George saying this, "I have something even higher than this form that breaks the top of my gi and breaks the boundaries of all multiverses." "Then show it to me then, George. I'm intrigued." So George Bailey tells Beerus he asked for it. His wrists and his ankles start to glow in green energy. His energy aura starts to grow even bigger, and George becomes much more intense. Beerus, in deep shock, asks, "Is this really your true power? If you used that against me, I would have died." "Look, Beerus, you have immortality, so technically George would have wiped you out if he wanted to." "What? You serious, Whis?" "So there you go, Lord Beerus. This is me in my true form, and my ultimate power too." So there you go. This is what happens if George becomes the legendary Super Saiyan. Now we're going to do a quick comparison. So out of these two, Blue Diamond Ultra Instinct George Bailey is using 30% to keep up with the legendary Super Saiyan at his current percent. Who do you think will win? Blue Diamond Ultra Instinct or the legendary Super Saiyan? I want you all to comment down below which one do you think. Hashtag it. And yeah, that's all you have to do. So yeah. If you all haven't already, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Blue Diamond Ultra Instinct George Bailey. Kamehameha!